Hey, welcome back to our podcast, your go-to source for all things real estate and lifestyle in the heart of Fort Worth, Texas. I'm Jackson Christian Berry.
And I'm Jean Kristen Berry.
And together, we're here to guide you through the vibrant world of Fort Worth and surrounding suburb living.
We believe in creating a community where everyone feels at home. And that's why we're committed to bringing you honest, expert advice in a fun and friendly way. From the bustling streets of downtown to the serene suburbs, we've got the scoop on what makes each area unique.
Each week, we'll dive into the latest market trends, offer tips for both buyers and sellers, and share insider knowledge to help you make informed decisions. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or just curious about some of the Fort Worth charming neighborhoods, you're in the right place. Let's jump into today's episode.
All right, welcome back and welcome home, Fort Worth.
Nice.
So I'm Jean Kristen Berry, and this is Jackson Kristen Berry, and we're here today to talk to you about the home buying process. So we're going to talk to you about 10 steps today to get you through the process of buying a property. Is that right?
Sounds great to me.
Is that what we're doing?
Let's do it.
Okay, that's what we're doing.
Cool.
Here we go.
So we're kind of doing a faux buyer consultation.
Yeah.
If you were somebody who had told us that you were considering buying a home, this is what this would look like. We would sit down with you and we'd walk you through, make sure that you know what to expect, whether you have bought a house before or not. We're going to say, hey, probably been a while since you have bought a house, if you're somebody selling a home to then buy a new house. Or maybe a first-time home buyer and you've never bought a house. And so we're going to make sure you got a really good understanding of what it looks like to do that. And so we're going to walk you through all of that today, talk you through some nuances. Mainly what I care the most about sharing with people is fees to expect.
Right.
I really want people to know how much money to expect to spend on the transaction itself. We're not talking loans. We're not talking closing costs. We're talking about what's going to happen along the way that you need to have money ready to go out of your pocket.
That's the thing that stresses most of our buyers
Yes.
out is just knowing, do I have enough money to do this?
Yep. So make sure we get you some answers for that today. But let's just, as an overview of the home buying process, there's kind of 10 steps. And really, I think there's 4 big ones in here that we'll pull out more.
Yeah,
but
the biggies.
If you're looking at the very base level, 10 steps. First off, you're going to get partner with a realtor, somebody like us that is going to walk you through it and educate you on what buying a home looks like. You're going to go get pre-approved, and that's because it's going to give us your spending budget, right?
Right. What you can afford each month.
Yep.
And then what you can qualify for as far as the price.
Right. So if you can't afford a $550K home, we don't need to go look at $550K homes. We need to go look at $500K, unless there's some reason we could get a deal, and that's obviously part of that, but that tends to be not as frequent. Obtain pre-approval. We're going to get your home under contract. So it's kind of it's both touring homes and getting your home under contract. So that's kind of step 3. Step 4 is going to be this thing we call earnest money and option fee. We're going to deposit those checks. We'll talk to you about that. That's kind of one of the first fees you'll encounter.
Yep. And number 5 is getting the home inspected.
Yep.
So we're going to recommend to you our people, the inspectors that they ought to be using. We've got some people that are great at that.
Yeah, amazing.
And then we also will help you walk through the repairs and negotiate those. That's step number 6. There's a lot to that. And a lot of people get really concerned about, what am I supposed to ask for? How much will the seller give me?
Yep. And we've got a whole episode dedicated to negotiation tactics that we employ. So if you really want to learn more about negotiations, if it's not out yet, it'll be out in the next week or 2. If it's not out yet, so check back on any of our channels.
We've got a lot of negotiation tactics we can use. Number 7 is we're going to talk to you about homeowners insurance. So when you buy a property, you're going to insure it. And then you also may want a home warranty. So we'll have information about that. Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to get the property appraised. If you're using a loan, if you're a cash buyer, you won't have to worry about that. And then you are going to, your loan's going to get approved.
Out of underwriting.
Out of underwriting into approval. And then you've got your closing, signing, and funding. So if that's 10 steps, if we had to consolidate that to 4, and what I think people remember, if you ask somebody, what do you remember about buying a home? They would probably say getting under contract, really finding the home, getting it under contract, the option period negotiations and the appraisal negotiations, and obviously closing, of course, after that. And really what's cool about that, all of those have kind of associations with part of the loan process. The loan process really goes through pre-approval, underwriting, loan approval, and then funding, right? So there's kind of on the loan side, there's steps happening. On the transaction side, there's stuff happening. So
when you get under contract, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes.
Yes.
that are happening to move the loan along and to also get you to closing. So,
and we just did this interview with one of our vendors that we love, Travis, and he did a great job articulating like the importance of just like that back end support. Right. And my gosh, like that for us, I almost like said an amen on that moment, because it was just like, if the detail work has to be so right in all of this kind of stuff. And so whether it's us or whoever, just make sure you've got somebody on your side who's really solid at details, or has a team like we do that's dedicated to those details.
Yeah, there's some timelines that you have to stick with.
Yep.
And if you're not on those timelines, it could cause some problems.
Yes. So just jumping into each step as we go play by play, right? So you're attending something like this. It's a home buying seminar or something that a realtor's coaching you through. That's kind of step one. So we're kind of doing that right now. So I'm going to skip over that step and jump to step two, which is pre-approval, right? We mentioned it already. Pre-approval is going to be your shopping budget. Your lender's going to say, hey, you are pre-approved up to $450K, whatever the number is, right? We can loan you up to this amount based on how much you want to spend a month. And then what that's going to let us do is two things. Like I said, shopping budget, but it's also going to let us know what kind of loan you're using. Right. And that's really important, because some homes do not accept every single loan type. And so really the main ones we work with, FHA, conventional kind of a catch-all. Almost everybody accepts conventional unless it's in really, really bad shape. And they'll just do it cash. And then you've got VA loans. And those are the main ones we see. There are some opportunities for seller financing and things like that if you're looking for creative lending options. And
also, the buyer down payment assistance programs, things like that.
Yeah. So, but mostly it'll be FHA, VA, and conventional. So we want to make sure if you're wanting to shop for homes, but you only have an FHA loan, nothing wrong with that. Great, 3.5% down. A lot of assistant programs that roll into that as well. If you are that person getting that FHA loan, some homes will not accept a FHA loan, or the FHA won't approve the loans for some types of properties. Really, what it is.
Yeah, and it's mainly due to condition.
Yes, exactly.
That's the only reason. It's just like that. Maybe it's got holes in the sheetrock. Maybe there's no flooring in the house. Yeah, things like that.
And so we want to make sure that you aren't looking at properties that won't accept your type of loan, because you're just wasting your time, and we don't want to do that. So. And then what's nice about the pre-approval, right? Some people, you shouldn't do this. Some people will wait until they find their dream home to go then get pre-approved. Here's the deal. You probably just lost out on that home, because it's going to take you a day or two, depending on the lender, to get pre-approved. And that house that you like so much may have just accepted an offer in that time period. So we want you to be really ready to go and ready to jump when you find something that you love. And so we want you to pre-approve before we even start looking at houses. Right.
And don't worry about it hitting your credit or something weird like that. People get worried about all that. Yep. It's a soft pull is what they call it. So it doesn't do much to your credit. And then also your pre-approval letter is good for about 90 days. So you've got it for a while. Most people are able to find a house within 30 to 90 days right now.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, if you're somebody that's shopping in a market that's very, very competitive, I would advise you to at least have the conversation with the lender if you can go ahead and get underwritten. It's just a strategy that it takes you a little more work on the front end, but it's a strategy that really does make you look like a better buyer when the seller receives your offer. Yeah. So if you're competing, go ahead and get underwritten if you can, if the lender will go for it. It's just going to be a good thing.
Yeah, and all that really requires is just, you're going to turn in all of the documents that the lender asks for. You're going to give bank statements and tax statements and things like that. So you go ahead and get them all that. And then the lender's going to take all that information and take it through underwriting, and then you're approved.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we've got a whole episode with one of our preferred lenders, Jefferson Aldridge, that's already out on our YouTube channel and our podcast and all these platforms. So I recommend you go listen to that, because that's really going to be somebody who is in the trenches every day talking about specific lender stuff. Highly recommend that. However, really any lender that you go with, I really do recommend you listen to that episode. There's just some really good details in there that he says that you need to hear. So do that. But any lender you work with needs to be able to probably do at least a 30-day close. Yeah. That's what we see in this market is the most frequent time frame. If they can do earlier, great. That's a better. That gives us some competitive advantage, but at least 30 days.
Yeah, because most sellers, they want to close in 30 days.
Yeah.
If you start going 45 days or 60 days, you might lose your deal.
Yeah. And then just somebody who's really good at communication. Somebody who's over communicating with you so that really the biggest thing I think on the loan side is everything you need that you're responsible for sending to that lender.
Yeah.
So that they're real clear with you. I need this documentation, and you as the buyer know that you need to send that documentation, because that's where we see the biggest hiccups is that there's, either the lender that we've not used before that's new to us is just waiting in the background until like 3 days before closing to get some documents from you. And it's like, dude, like that just doesn't work. You can't be doing that.
Right.
This is kind of as we're talking about financing, the other thing to mention is that there's some do's and there's some don'ts.
There are.
And the don'ts, I'm going to focus more on that because the do's are like, obviously you want to make payments on time. You want to be
Pay your bills.
If you have any debts, make sure you're paying those because if you stop paying those, that will reflect poorly on your credit and affect what you're pre-approved for. On the don'ts, which is more important because we just really want you to remember, don't do these things.
Don't do this.
Don't
It'll
be
mess
this
you up.
person. It's going to really mess you up and just like cause you problems that just wait. Don't quit or change your job. Wait until you close on that house and then quit or change your job.
The next day you can do it.
You can do it. You go for it. Like that. What's that? Loans covered. Don't make any large purchases or credit inquiries, right? So don't don't
go to the furniture company and get them to pull your credit to see if you can qualify for that.
Because that's going to freak out your debt to income and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Don't apply for credit. Don't change bank accounts. Don't deposit or withdraw large cash amounts. Now, we most frequently see this with first-time home buyers getting gift funds from parents or family or whatever. Make sure that you talk to your lender before you accept those funds. There's
a way to do it.
Yeah, there's a way to do it. And so they'll talk you through how to do that. Don't co-sign for anybody. Don't send payments late or incur late fees. And then, like I said, talk to your lender about gift funds. So
talk to your lender.
Just run it through your lender.
Stay in communication with your lender.
Yeah.
We don't want you to miss out on closing on your house because of something like that. Yeah. All right. Then the next one is getting it under contract.
Yeah, which is twofold, right? Because that's finding the home. So that's a whole part of that. And then it's actually writing up the contract in a way that's going to get accepted.
Right.
Okay. Right. So how do you usually help people do those two things?
So finding a home's first, of course. And so now we know what kind of loan you have. So we know it's going to be FHA or VA or conventional. And so then we're going to set up searches. We're going to talk about what your needs and your wants are, what the deal breakers are, what you have to have, and what you absolutely can get away with. Yeah. And what would be nice for you to have. So we're going to differentiate that. Yeah,
we were at a listing consultation just last week, and I think we had a great question that I really thought was good. It was just, hey, talk to me about the Zillow thing. Like, I'm looking at houses on Zillow. Should I do that? Is there a different way to do that? And I thought the response was great, which was just Zillow, like, so that like behind the curtain, right? Zillow has made comments about like wanting to remove realtors from the game.
Sure.
And so no realtor like loves Zillow because as a company, it feels like they're out to get us, right? But just as a consumer, it makes sense for you to use Zillow. It's a great app. It's a great app. It's a great platform. It's a lot of value for you. It gives you access to what we spend, so much money getting certified to be able to use, which is the MLS, right? Mm-hmm. It gives you access to that. They throw in things along the way that make it not as perfectly accurate as our MLS is. But all this to say, what I would recommend is still check your agent search when they set it up for you. The reason for that is because that agent probably made that search off of your criteria, but also kept it a little broad. And the reason for that is you might miss things. Like the search might catch things that you still are possibly interested in that may not be what you're searching for on Zillow because you're searching these specific criteria where, if you're somebody who says, I want a 4-bed 2, well, what if a 3-bed 2 with an office? Like, and what if we throw a Murphy bed in that office, right? Or something like that. Can that work for you and your family? You may not be searching for a 3-bed 2-bath with an office, and we might leave that search open to that kind of criteria where you're like, actually, you know what, that could work for my family.
Right.
So,
or in the neighborhood, things are staying on the market longer, and you stopped your search in Zillow at 600, but we went ahead and did it up to 625.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And there was a price change, and all of a sudden we knew it was coming really, really fast.
And that's huge. I mean, I cannot tell you, like in our market in Fort Worth, like literally there's such a massive difference between a home price at $290 and $315. Like just those two differences there, I mean, are wildly different. So if you're somebody who can, if you got approved to 300, if you can get that 315 number, I promise you there's a whole different market of properties that are available to you at that price range.
Well, and we're used to seeing trends and patterns with things. So if you tell us that you've got to have these certain things, but we know after looking just pretty quickly that 290 is not going to get that, and you really can qualify up to 315, we know that'll get that, then we're going to talk to you about that.
Yeah, just so you know your options. We're not wanting you to spend the most money or make a decision that doesn't make sense for your family. Yeah. So we're going to help you find the house first. So finding it, getting in the home, touring it, making sure that we've seen it. As we walk you through the home, we're going to make sure that we've kind of talking you through things that we're seeing. Hey, this might show up on the inspection. Not to be this crack over here kind of looks alarming, whatever, right? A lot of different things. We're going to walk you through the home, make sure you know what you're kind of getting into with this. If you decide that you like the home and you want to keep and move forward with putting an offer in, that's when the fun begins, because we craft your offer.
Yeah, by talking to the listing agent, doing our research.
Yes.
Yeah, we do quite a few things that goes into crafting that offer, including knowing our negotiation techniques and where we want to end up. So we'll walk you through all that and talk to you about the different terms in the contract and what they mean for you.
And there's a lot of opportunities to structure your offer where it still gives the seller something that they want while not coming out of the pocket in a lot of different ways. So, and we can help you know it's normal. So it may not be normal to go to your seller. Like if you look on TikTok or YouTube, they're going to tell you to make sure that you're getting that 10K seller concession so you can get that buy down. And it's like, yes, that's obviously ideal, but here's the deal. If that's not what's happening in this market, if you put in an offer that says, give me 10K in concessions, you're not getting accepted.
And not only that, they may not even respond to your offer.
You may not get a counter offer.
Yeah. Hey, everyone, real quick before we get back to the show, if you're on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, we'd love to connect with you. We post a lot of content like this in case you miss an episode, along with more Fort Worth and surrounding suburb local insights and finds. You can find our team at the Kristen Berry Group on all social platforms, or you can connect with Jackson and I personally on our Facebook and our Instagram accounts. Just be prepared for lots of pictures of my grandson on either account. Now back to the show.
Now, if that is what's happening, we want to ask for that. If that makes sense to ask for this, we totally want to do that. But we're going to help you know, hey, that's not really standard right now. Or, hey, that is standard right now. Like if you aren't thinking about asking for concessions and it's standard right now to ask for concessions, we're going to say, hey, we probably want to at least ask for
we're going to say
here.
Stuff like it's only been on the market for 24 hours. Or we're going to say it's been on the market for 80 days. Let's try it.
Yeah, we got a lot more wiggle room when it's 80 days for sure. All right, so we've written your offer. We've gotten you in it. We hopefully, where we have heard back from the listing agent, you are under contract. You've got under contract. The timeline, the ticking time clock begins, y'all.
Start.
This is where, like, I have had so many buyers get so overwhelmed from this moment right here because they're just like, cool, I accepted an offer. Now I'm chilling. It's like, nope, you've got stuff to do. Like, you are in game mode. And so first thing, the biggest timeline that you have that you are under is within 3 days, you need to get your option fee and your earnest money into the title company. Now, let's talk to people about what that is. Option fee, earnest money.
So option fee is an amount of money, and it varies. It's anywhere from $250 to $1,000.
It's completely negotiable.
It's totally negotiable. Yeah. And it's the money that you pay for the right to be able to opt out of a contract for a certain number of days. So that's all negotiated. And during that period of time is the time you can get everything checked out.
Yep.
So you can
with a
check
general inspection.
Inspection, you can check out survey stuff, boundaries, tax, whatever.
Anything you want.
Check anything out. And you can opt out of the contract for any reason during that period of time. So that's
why we do that.
Yeah. The seller will keep that money if you opt out, but it is a lot cheaper than earnest money. So earnest money is about 1% of the purchase price typically. And at that amount of earnest money, you want to get that back if you opt out of the contract. Yeah. So this protects your earnest money too.
Yep. So that's your first charge. So keep that in mind. Option fee, you could estimate, if you want to, there are strategic ways we can write your offer where we can do $1,000 or $2,000, but on average, it's between $250 to $500 for that option fee. And then on average, again, 1% of your purchase price. So if you're shopping in that $450 range, you're looking at about $4,500 for that option, or for the earnest money, excuse me.
Yeah,
so,
and we do have a very strict time frame on getting that over to the title company.
Yeah. And earnest money, just so you know, it's good faith money. That's the other thing. And so basically, it just validates the contract. It is the contribution from the buyer to that validates the contract. That makes it
put some skin in the game.
Skin in the game, because the seller's giving up their property as their skin in the game. The buyer's got to give something for it to be a valid contract. So, we are under contract. We have just done the option fee and earnest money. What else? Then we are into inspections. So we're going to do a general inspection, right? So during the option fee, Mom mentioned this already, or during the option period, excuse me. General inspection, we've got some great inspectors that we love that are just so dang helpful in seeing things that are just, you would never see. It's looking behind the walls. They don't actually open the walls right, but it's that, how is this house on a very functional level, work for us.
Yeah, I mean, they can find things like humidity in a wall from an instrument that they have. So yeah, they're and they can find heat that's radiating.
Is the AC heating correctly? Is the AC cooling correctly? Are the appliances working correctly? Are the windows, are their seals broken? I mean, the reports are just so extensive, which is just amazing. And then what's going to happen? So once we get that general inspection, first off, we're going to help you understand the inspection because you're going to see
It'll be 40 pages long or so. Yeah.
Everything that's wrong with your house. Yeah. Everything that's wrong with your house. And let's be very clear. Everything that's wrong with your house in terms of today's code. That's a really big key point there because there are things that were, when your house was built, that it was not a big deal. It didn't matter. Now, the codes have changed. And so it is something to be aware of for sure. I don't want to diminish that. But keep in mind, it tends to be the code. So they're going to show you everything that's wrong with your house. We're going to help you understand kind of that what's important. We're going to look at the big ticket items mainly to make sure that you either know the seller won't give you anything for them or won't do the repairs. We want you to know what that cost is going to be to you, and if the seller will do the repairs, we want to negotiate that. So sometimes the general inspection requests it'll defer to a roofing specialist or a foundation specialist or that kind of thing. And so then we may have to do some follow-up inspections depending on the general inspection of getting roofers out or things like that to have those items inspected.
Right. Yeah. And it's all negotiable. What our conclusion is either money or repairs.
Yep.
We tend to lean towards money because that way the buyers can get the repairs done the way they like them to be done.
With the contractors they want.
With the contractors they want. So sometimes there's some miscommunication with some of that. But overall, it's all negotiated. And and that's what we're here to do is to try to help people see what's reasonable and what's out of the scope of reason.
Yeah, and just what's normal. Yeah. I mean, that's just what normally happens in the market. You can, in a real estate transaction, you can go for whatever you want.
Yeah.
Issue is it just may not work. Yeah. And so we want you to understand, hey, if we're doing that, like traditionally speaking, this will not work, or it probably won't work. And you just need to know that if you're making
ready
a decision
for that.
to do
Yeah.
So but make sure you know what's going on. All right. So we are to negotiations, which you just mentioned. Once you're in negotiation season, especially with the option period, it's a lot of back and forth. You want to make sure that you are very available, whatever day that the negotiations are really happening. Usually it's going to be the second to last or the third to last day of your option period. Mm-hmm. Just make sure you're by your phone and that you're either able to take calls or text or whatever, because your agent is going to need to get a hold of you because you're on a timeline. Like once that option period is up, if you have not made an amendment to the contract, technically you are in the contract going forward, regardless of all the issues that were found in the inspection, right? And so you want to make sure you're protected as the buyer by getting all these things negotiated during the option period when things are a little more, I can pull out right now, no problem. I just lose my option money. Versus if you pull out later for a reason that you shouldn't have, then you might lose your earnest money or it might be sued. I mean, it could go there.
Yeah, breach a contract.
Yeah, so we don't want you to do that.
Then we've got the homeowner's insurance. So this is where you're getting towards the end of your loan being processed and coming out of underwriting. So when that happens, your lender's going to want you to pick a homeowner's insurance company. Mm-hmm. And this is when you want to shop rates. So make sure you shop rates with your insurance company. You're going to want to bundle, your car insurance, your homeowner's insurance, and see what's the best deal that you can get for those things. And then you'll let them know what that is. Let the lender know who's going to do that. And then you'll pay that at closing. Mm-hmm. So at closing, you're going to pay off your homeowner's insurance for the year. Yeah. And then this is also the time when you select a home warranty. So if maybe the seller agreed to pay for a home warranty for you, and if not, you have the right to be able to do that. You can choose a home warranty company, and you can pay that at closing as well.
And we usually estimate that around the policies can be very different. Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure you get the coverage that you want. It's usually around $500 to $600 is the average
anywhere from
one.
$600 to we've seen $1,200.
Yeah, I mean you can go the big plan. I think that I've seen is $1,800. So I mean you can do, and that's just more coverage, right? It's covered
swimming pool and a spa.
So, but on the average contract, you'll see about $600 for that. So
and a lot of times sellers will pay for that for a buyer, and that's it. And it's for 1 year. Yeah. And then after that, you're looking at the appraisal. So the lender will have already ordered the appraisal, and the lender is the one that's in charge of getting that done, and you'll pay the lender for that. Mm-hmm. Some lenders want that paid up front. Some will take it at closing. Mm-hmm. That usually runs about $400 to $500 on the appraisal.
Depends on the size of the property. There's a couple of different things that go into that.
Depends on size. Yeah. So the appraisal then, what if that is it's a way for the lender to just make sure that the property is worth the value of what they're loaning on it.
They're not giving you $1 million for you to go buy something that's worth $100K.
Yeah,
Right? Like
because if it goes back to them, they want to make sure it's worth what they
don't
spent
want
on
to
it.
upside down on this loan. So and that can cause some problems. And so that can cause some problems. So this is a big point. Like I mentioned, this is like that third point that you really feel in this process. Or maybe the fourth point. I forget which one it was.
It's a stress point.
It's a stress point because it can be, right? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just this average, no problem. Like if the appraisal meets value. So for example, let's just give you a scenario so you can kind of make sense of this. $400K home, you're offered for that. We have the appraisal done, and it comes out 3 different scenarios, right? It comes in at value, meaning that it comes in at $400K. So that means you're good, no worries. We're just trucking on to closing, and you're good to go. If it comes in above, guess what? Good news for you. You have day one equity. Means that you bought a house for less than it's worth. And that's a good thing because you could sell it. You wouldn't do this actually. Don't do this. But you could theoretically sell it and make money day one because you bought something for less than what's worth, right? Or, and this is the scenario that needs negotiations and requires a little bit of struggle or can require some struggle. And that is if it comes in below. So just for example, if we're under contract for a home that's $400K and where's my words going? The appraisal, there's the word. The appraisal comes back at $390K, right? There is $10K currently missing in that deal. Okay, so there's $10K missing in the deal between $400 and $390. So I guess technically 4 things can happen at that point. Either the seller can cover the difference and bring the price down, so we renegotiate offer price to $390. You can cover the difference and just come out of pocket $10K and give it extra $10K cash at closing to cover that difference. Or you guys can meet in the middle, and so it can be $5K from you, $5K from you, $6K, $4K, whatever, how you split it. And then the fourth option is that you just walk because you guys can't come to an agreement. And so you as the buyer, you walk and you say, hey, I'm not covering that difference. I can't do this without my loan. And so that's what happens. And so the appraisal can be a moment of negotiation. The goal is that it's not. And what we do on the front end so you can prepare for the appraisal moment, we're going to run a lot of comps on your house. We aren't appraisers. And
we can't control appraisers.
Sure do wish we could, and really wish that there was some sync up between what appraisers learn in their comps and real estate agents, because we will run comps. We will tell you the market value of the home that we believe to be the market value of the home. But the appraiser really comes in with a different eye, looks at it very, very differently. And so they will take the market value into account, but they're also going to do some really detailed adjustments and stuff that aren't always what we believe to be the case. And so we're going to tell you what we think it appraises for. Obviously, we aren't appraisers, and we'll tell you we're not appraisers when we tell you that, because we are not appraisers. Appraisers do get to do what they want to do. And so anyways, we're going to try to do everything we can to help you be prepared for what that appraisal is going to come in at. So that if you put in an offer for something that I believe is worth $400K, but you put in a $450 offer, I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to say, hey, you're probably going about $50K over asking here. And so you may be liable. Not liable is too strong a word. You may have to come out of pocket $50K to actually make this deal work at that price.
Yeah. We'll tell you the odds of that.
Yep.
Up front, you're about 9% certain going to need to come out of the pocket $50K.
Yeah, if you're doing something like that.
And some people can do that. Yeah. And that's okay with them.
That was the market. That was buyers in 21 and 22. Right. There's this thing called the appraisal waiver. You can say, I don't care what the appraisal comes in at. I'm covering all the difference. You can do appraisal guarantee. So down to $10K of a difference, I'm covering it. And that was all of what 21 and 22 was. Right. It was people just saying, hey, I'm going to pay you more money on top because there's just not a lot of homes and interest rates are crazy. And so there's a lot of buyers out here and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And we usually do an appraisal package for our appraisers.
Yep.
And that way we can, just help them see what we saw and help them understand how we priced and why we priced the property the way we did.
Yep.
And make sure that they understand maybe some of the nuances of the neighborhood or nuances of that particular build of that property.
Which is the only thing we can do.
Yeah.
I mean, we will do everything we can to help the appraisal go smoothly, both from running comps on the front end to also doing stuff like that. But again, the appraiser has the final say, and we can argue the appraisal. We can appeal it. And sometimes they will do it, but a lot of times they don't. So, Just depends. So anyways, once your appraisal has come back, your loan is usually ready for approval. So your lender will give us a notification, loan is approval. We are headed to closing, which is great news.
Lender puts all those documents over at the title company. We make sure that the settlement sheet, which is the sheet that shows what the buyer owes and what the seller owes, make sure that all those numbers are correct, and schedule the closing. And then you wire your money or bring a cashier's check to the closing table for the amount that your lender tells you.
Yep.
And then we sign. Buyers sign a very thick.
Yes, they do.
If you have a loan, then you're going to have a real thick stack of papers. Sellers sign just a very few papers. And and then there we are.
And you close. And then we'll be with you, at least our team, not every agent does this, but we'll be with you post-transaction to make sure that everything goes smoothly. If you need anything, call us. We've got your back, and we'll be there to make sure that you know your home warranty numbers and all this kind of stuff. So, but that's really a real estate transaction for a buyer in our area, and kind of how that works and what we typically see. My biggest advice that I could give a buyer right now would be really just make sure you're educated on what this looks like. And the reason for that is just because it's going to help you feel more in control as things come up, and less anxiety. Because this really does not have to be an anxiety-producing thing if you know what's coming and if you know what's happening. So. And if you find the right seller and find the right deal and all that kind of stuff, which is what we want to help you with.
Absolutely.
The other thing is that we're going to really make sure that we deliver to you just an experience that's, honestly, if you're working with us, you just can't imagine something being better.
That's right.
Really. We've spent a lot of time building and developing our systems at our team to be able to resource our clients well and to the best of our ability. And so that we can stop surprises coming down the pipe, and that we can do... every person, process, and thing is just dedicated to delivering this experience that's just awesome. And I think that, we always tell people it's real estate and it's people. And so sometimes there can be challenges. And it can be a little messy sometimes. But at least at our team, we're going to be really focused on delivering to you that 5-star kind of experience and making sure you have the solutions that you need anytime something comes up to get through it. And so that's what we're after at TCG and what we do. So know that we are here to help any way we can. Buying is not something to be stressed out about. It's something that we do. We help people buy houses.
It's exciting.
Every day. And we love doing it. So let us know if we can help you, even if it's just answering questions. Again, we love this. We do this podcast because we love teaching. We love educating. We love helping people not feel panicky about real estate.
Yeah. Feel like you had a good experience and you got the house that you wanted and you're making dreams come true in it.
Yeah, and having family or having events or all the things that come with owning a home, which is so fun. So, well, I think that's all I got. Got anything else for us?
That is our walkthrough of our buyers and how we work with buyers and what you can expect.
Yep, totally. Well, we sure do appreciate y'all joining every single week, and we'll catch you again next week.
How do they find us?
Oh yeah, well they'll find us on. We got a whole thing.
We got a whole thing.
Don't you worry about that.
All right, sounds good.
We're professionals here. They'll find out very shortly.
Thank goodness.
Y'all have a great week. We'll catch you back next week.
See you soon.
Hey, thank you so much for watching the podcast today. If this has been valuable for you at all, we sure could use your help getting the word out to more people. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead and give us a follow and consider taking just maybe 2 minutes to leave us a review. Both do wonders for our show with the algorithm, and on both platforms, all you gotta do, head over to our show page. On Spotify, hit 3 dots and select rate. And on Apple, all you gotta do is just scroll down to the show and say leave a review. So just click that. If you're seeing this on Facebook or Instagram, a like or comment puts all the good vibes out in the algorithm for us. And on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever we post a new episode. Join us again next week for more Fort Worth housing news and updates. Until then, y'all have a great week.